makes me sad to say this, but I have to dip into RuneScape 2 quests in order to do Legends Quest. I'm short 7 quest points, which the next 5 quests will get me. Quest number 51, Rune Mysteries. With the release of RuneScape 2 Open Beta came a single quest, Rune Mysteries. It was designed to be somewhat of a prerequisite for the new skill, Runecraft. A simple delivery quest to bring the talisman the Duke of Lumbridge found to the Wizard's Tower, from the tower to the Varrock Rune Store, and then back to the tower. Doing this unlocked the Rune Essence mine, allowing us to mine Rune Essence. None of this exists anymore, and you unlock the Rune Essence mine immediately now. With the release of the updated Wizard's Tower, November 28, 2012, this quest was removed and replaced with 2 quests, Rune Mysteries and Rune Memories. Today we're just doing Rune Mysteries. Memories will need to wait 9 more years until it comes out. We speak to Ariane, who is trying to get into the Wizard's Tower, but is being barred. We learn that she's been banished permanently from the tower, but she says she needs to warn the Archmage that the tower is in danger. She requests we enter the tower and warn the Archmage in her place. We accept, but before we enter, some magical creature appears and torments the wizards.
Do something! Get that thing away from me!
Come on, my message can wait. Let's see what's happening.
Ariane is hit with stray magic and is knocked to the ground. She tells us to grab a mind spike and cast airstrike at the creature, drawing it into the central power beam.
Thanks, adventurer. Talk to me again outside the tower if you still want to help.
We meet Ariane outside the tower and ask her what's going on. She says she isn't sure, but she knows the Wizard's Tower is in danger and is trying to find out why. She explains that she is a seer, and she has been seeing premonitions of the tower in flames. We ask her how she was banished from the tower. She says that she used a forbidden source of information in an attempt to study her gift as a seer. She has us go to speak to some of the wizards in the tower to ask them for their help. We start with Treyborn, who explains he saw a thingamawhat come up through the floor of the library.
Didn't you know? This tower was built on the ruins of an old tower. That's where it came from, the swirly thing. I saw it come up through the floor of the library.
We speak to Elrond, Ariane's mentor. He explains that Archmage Cedrador expelled her for simply using every source of knowledge at her disposal, and he is still on her side. Finally, Cedrador says that they are planning on performing what he calls an Icianic Purge, to overpower the magical creatures and cleanse the power beam. He also explains that Ariane was worshipping a demon, and that is the reason why she was expelled. We give all this information to Ariane. She explains that Icianic Purge is simply flooding the beam with an extreme amount of magic, destroying anything inside. Ariane says this may work, but she wants to find out what they are first. She also clarifies that she did not worship a demon, simply spoke to one. She says that even this act is enough to turn one into a Zamorakian wizard, in Cedrador's eyes. When we tell her what Treyborn said about the creature coming through the floor, she realizes that we need to gain access to the old tower ruins beneath the current tower. She sends us back in to try to find a way to get access from Elrond. Elrond explains that the only one who is allowed to access the old tower is Archmage Cedrador. He says he can't help us as much as he wants to.
It was the Archmage Peril, first Archmage of the new tower, who sealed the lower levels. He had an idiosyncratic understanding of magic and its relationship to other arts. Perrin had the pipe organ installed in the library, and he wrote a treatise on the relationship between magic and music.
So, you're saying there's a clue in Archmage Perrin's book?
I don't recall saying anything of the sort. If you did want to read that book, though, for its historical interest, perhaps, you could find it on one of the bookshelves on the ground floor.
We find 2 books in the library. They detail the relationship between magic and music. Inside the books are some notes. One showing sheet music using runes instead of musical notes. Another, a key, showing what each note represents. We go to the nearby organ using these notes and go to play it. A wizard asks us to please use the top row, as the other 2 rows are too loud and not even the Archmage himself would be able to maintain concentration. We play the music from the book, and a secret compartment opens revealing a key. We take the key to Ariane, and now we have access to the ruins of the old tower. Inside, we find an automaton that believes me to be a new apprentice wizard. It tests us on various moral dilemma and dubs us a Grey Wizard.
Welcome, Grey Wizard.
We continue and find a gap in the staircase. We go to drop a nearby statue down. Arion tells us to be respectful and careful, as this is a statue of the wizard who negotiated free transport for all rune essence from the essence mine. We push down the statue anyway, creating a bridge. Deeper into the ruins, we find the central power beam. Arion explains that this is the room where most of today's spells are created. She has us draw one of the vortices into a spell circle so she can study it. We do so, and she finds that it is not a creature at all, but instead a soul fragment of a wizard of the old tower. She says recently, within the past few days, the spell that bound these fragments here was removed, but she can't tell by who. She says she can place the spell back on the fragments, but she needs us to delay Cedrador's Iceanic Purge while she does. We return to the tower and interrupt Cedrador by playing the organ's lower row.
Don't do that, adventurer. The Iceanic Purge is in a critical stage, and it is essential that all participants be able to concentrate. Adventurer, I must insist that you step away from that organ. Break my concentration once more, and you will feel the wrath of the Grand Archmage of the Reborn Tower.
Arion succeeds in casting her spell, and Cedrador believes it was simply the Iceanic Purge working.
The purge is complete.
We return to Arion, and she confirms that the fragments are once again bound to the ruins, and says she will continue researching to find out what can be done about them. Quest complete. Quest number 52, Big Chompy Bird Hunting. Traveling to the far southeastern end of Feldip Hills, we speak to an ogre named Rance. He asks for us to make the stabbers so he can hunt the chompy. He explains in his own ogre way that he needs us to make arrows so he can hunt a species of local bird. He says they should be made of wood from the nearby trees and tipped with the bones of wolves. We do as we're asked and give him 6 arrows. He then explains that we need to bait the chompy down as well using toads bloated with swamp gas. We go inside the cave and unlock a chest, taking the bellows from inside. At the nearby swamp, we fill the bellows and inflate a toad. We show the toad to Rance and he tells us to place it in a specific spot. We place the toad and wait. Eventually, a chompy comes down from the sky and eats the toad. Rance takes a shot at it and misses, blaming the arrows we made. We convince him to let us try and he lends us a bow. We fire at the chompy and kill it in a single hit. He tells us to prepare and cook the chompy for his family. He says he wants onion with his children Bugs and Feisty want equal leaves and dougal leaves. We cook and season the bird and give it to Rance. Quest complete. Quest number 53, Elemental Workshop 1. In the Seers village, we find a book titled The Elemental Shield. It details that a workshop was set up in this village to use an ore that was discovered early in the 5th Age. The ore had the property of being able to focus, transform, or absorb elemental energy. The ore was only found in this village. However, the ore was deemed too dangerous by the Magi of the time and it was sealed away. The book says it holds the way to access the workshop. We grab a knife and slice the spine of the book, revealing a hidden key. In the nearby smithy, we insert the key into an odd-looking wall and descend the stairs hidden behind it. The workshop contains spirits representing each of the 4 elements. In the air chamber, we find giant bellows that are torn. We repair them with a piece of leather. In the water chamber, we turn the control wheels and pull a lever to jumpstart the water wheel. In the earth chamber, we find the ore the book was referencing. We mine an outcrop, but it comes to life. I slay it and grab an ore. In the central room, we take a stone bowl and bring it to the fire chamber. We fill the bowl with lava from a trowel and pour it into the nearby furnace. Finally, I pull the lever near the bellows, starting the water-powered contraption that funnels air into the furnace. The workshop has been restored. We smelt the elemental ore with 4 lumps of coal, creating an elemental bar. Going to the workbench, we smith the bar into a shield. Quest complete. Quest number 54, Priest in Peril. We enter the castle in Varrock and speak to King Roald. We tell him we're looking for a quest. He asks if we're aware of the temple to the east that stands on the River Salve, guarding the entrance to the lands of Mauritania. We tell him it's the first we've heard of it. He explains it has been days since he last heard of the priests in the temple, and asks us to go make sure nothing bad has happened. We travel to the temple and arrive at a beautifully crafted church of Saradomin. We knock at the door and explain Roald sent us to check on Drezel. The voices say he's coming down, and we're greeted by someone clearly trying to imitate Drezel. He asks for a favor in getting rid of the dog that has been bothering him nearby. Without thinking twice about this, we head down into the mausoleum and slay Cerberus. We return to Drezel and tell him that we killed the dog. He thanks us and sends us back to the king. We return to Roald and tell him we killed the dog.
You what?
He asks if we're mentally deficient before telling us that the guard dog was protecting the holy well of the River Salve, and we need to find out what happened to the real Drezel and fix this, or he will have us beheaded for high treason. We return to the temple and find it has been ransacked, overtaken, and defiled by Zamorakian monks. We go to the top of the temple and find Drezel imprisoned. He says he believes that the Zamorakians are going to try and desecrate the river. He explains that long ago, all the lands nearby as far west as Varrock were under control of an evil god. Heroes of Varrock push back the evil creatures to the eastern side of the river. Saradomin himself blessed the river, preventing any evil from crossing it. The blessing took 10 days, however, and the 7 heroes fought the entire time without sleep or food to hold the evils back until the blessing was complete. On the 11th day, reinforcements came, finding all 7 warriors had been slain, but no single evil creature remained that tried to cross the river. This temple was built in memoriam of the 7 warriors, and they are buried in the mausoleum below. He asks us to stop the Zamorakians from desecrating the river and removing Saradomin's blessing. We agree, and he says we need to free him. He believes the key to his cell is nearby, but the nearby coffin houses a vampire meant to guard the cell. He explains it is a creature that has been trapped here for centuries and is quite mad. It will wake up and kill him if he leaves the cell. He suggests we use the salve's magic to incapacitate it. We kill one of the monks downstairs. He drops a golden key. We enter the mausoleum and fill a bucket from the holy well. We return to Drezel. He confirms his fears were true and the holy waters were desecrated. We also find the golden key doesn't fit the lock, but it is similar. We return to the mausoleum and find the statues all have golden belongings placed on them, but the one holding the key is made of iron. We swap the golden key with the iron one. Returning to Drezel, we unlock the cell door, and he blesses the water we gathered. We then douse the coffin in it. He tells us to meet him in the mausoleum so he can assess the damage the Zamorakians caused. Meeting Drezel in the mausoleum, he says they use some sort of potion that will slowly remove the blessing from the river. He says he placed a temporary ward on the barrier to Mauritania, but a ghoul has already made it into the temple. He says he came up with an idea using Rune essence to absorb the corruption. I grab essence that I got from killing demons a long time ago and deliver them to Drezel. He uses them to remove the corruption and rewards us with a wolfbane dagger. Quest complete. I move through the mausoleum and slay the ghoul, and then pass through the holy barrier into the swampy marsh of Mauritania. Quest number 55, Nature Spirit. Going back into the mausoleum, Drezel has more information to give us. He warns us Mauritania is full of creatures more terrifying than anything we've seen before. He tells us the trading post near the temple is called Canifis, the town of werewolves. We ask if there's anything else to do. He says a man named Philemon lives in Mortmire, the swamplands of Mauritania. Drezel warns us of the ghast infestation, but we agree to go anyway. He tells us his friend Philemon Tarlock is a druid living like a hermit in the middle of the swamp, helping adventurers traverse the swamp when they need it. He gives us some food and sends us on our way. We exit the mausoleum and enter Mortmire. We travel deep into the swamp and find the hermit's hut. We can see he has become a ghost himself, and he's speaking nonsense. I go to the bank and grab my ghost speak amulet, and then return to him. We tell him that he's a ghost, but he refuses to believe us. I grab a nearby mirror and show him his reflection. He believes us and asks us to find his journal. We find it in the tree, and it reads of something to do with a nature spirit. We give him the journal, and he remembers that he died violently, but he doesn't care about that anymore. He says that he wants to become a nature spirit. To do that, he says he needs something with faith, something from nature, and something of the spirit to become, freely given. He hands us a spell parchment and says we will first need to be blessed by a priest of the temple. We return to Drezel and ask him to bless us.
But you haven't sneezed.
He teleports us back to Philemon after telling us that we appear to have something holy about us. Philemon tells us to use the bloom spell in the swamp. We do so and grow a mushroom. Using the clues that we were given, we deduced that the something with faith would be us, as Drezel said so himself, and the something of the spirit to become freely given is the used spell parchment Philemon gave us. He casts a spell and invites us into the grotto to watch his transformation. He tells us that he will now share his knowledge in killing ghasts. He says we need to bring him a silver sickle. We go to Al Kharid and buy a sickle mode and cast a silver bar into it. We return to Philemon and he blesses our sickle. He asks us to kill 3 ghasts before he leaves this realm for good. We take the sickle and a druid pouch, fill it with mushrooms, and invoke the ghasts nearby, causing them to become corporeal and strike 3 of them down. Philemon moves on to the afterlife. Quest complete. We now have all the quest points we need to complete RuneScape Classic. Before starting Legend Quest, I was getting all the items I needed and found 2 problems while I was crushing all my topaz. Problem number 1. Lockpicks only had 2 methods of being acquired in RuneScape Classic. The first was pickpocketing rogues in the deep wilderness. Those of you that saw episode 7.5 would know that they don't give those anymore. The other method is picking them up from the spawn in the Yanil dungeon, but the rope swing takes 57 agility. I only have 50. It would be fair to say that I've already pickpocketed plenty of rogues and that I would have a small collection of lockpicks already, so that's what I'll do. I visited the rogues den and bought 10 of them from here. Problem solved. Now, problem number 2. I need one of the rarest items in the game to do this quest, a rune axe. There are exactly 2 methods of getting a rune axe: having level 86 smithing, or rolling the rare drop table. In RuneScape Classic, there are 4 monsters that roll the rare drop table: the King Black Dragon, Black Demons, Black Dragons, and Fire Giants. The nice people who contribute to the Classic Wiki did all the math and found the drop rate for a rune axe, once you roll the drop table, is about 1 in 43. That's not so bad, until you factor in the chance for hitting the rare drop table. King Black Dragon has a 1 in 16 chance, or about 683 kills for a rune axe. Black Dragons are 4 times less likely at 1 in 64, or 2,731 kills. Lastly, Fire Giants and Black Demons are 2 times less likely than Black Dragons to hit the table, at 1 in 128, or 5,461 kills. These are all terrible options. Nobody played Iron Man back in Classic, so this wasn't an issue back then, so I'm going to have to make a compromise. I'm going to buy one from the Champions Guild, and then drop it after the quest. Whoops, problem number 3. A soul rune. There is exactly one way for me to get a soul rune. Buy it from the Wizards Guild. I didn't realize this because I'm terrible at planning ahead. I need 66 magic, which I can boost from 63, so I'm back to training magic, but what to train on? I decided to go back to Chaos Druids in Edgeville because of the herbs, plus they're easy in AFK. After my first trip with the Staff of Air, I was doing some math. The Iban Staff is a tier 50 magic weapon, and if I use a spell that's at least tier 50, my minimum hit will be 118, just above a Chaos Druid's 115 health bar, meaning I can one-hit him. The trade-off is that it'll take me 3 air runes per kill. This is so much better. It only took me 150 air runes for this trip and a full inventory. No big deal at all. 63 magic, easy peasy. Here we are. Drink my Wizard's Mind Bomb and in we go. Soul rune acquired. Quest number 50. Legends Quest. We arrive at the gate of the Legends Guild, and the guards look over our deeds before granting us access. We speak to Radamus Urkel, the Grand Vizier of the Legends Guild. He sends us on a quest to explore the unmapped Karazi jungle on the southern end of Karamja, where to map it out, befriend the natives, and bring back a gift from them worthy of being displayed in the guild. We boat to Karamja, then cart to Shiloh Village and buy some of the materials we need. Then we head to the jungle. We map the central, eastern, and western area, completing the map and our first objective. We head back out of the jungle and speak with a forester just outside. He says he's not seen any natives, but he hears strange noises that the natives are making in the jungle. He says the noise comes from a bull roarer, which he just happens to have one. He departs with his in exchange for copying our map. We traverse into the jungle again and swing the bull roarer. It attracts a native named Gujuo. We tell him we want to develop friendly relations with his people. He appreciates the gesture and tells us that his people only congregate around their totem pole, but theirs has been polluted by an evil spirit and they will not approach it. He says we can try to make a new one, but we need to make it from a Yami tree, a magical tree that only their shaman Ungandalu has the seeds for. He says Ungandalu is being held against his will in a cave to the west. We find the cave and inside is a giant ring of fire in the shape of an 8-pointed star. We speak to the man inside. He seems to have two personalities. One begs us not to put the flames out, and the other tells us we can extinguish them with pure water. We search the bed, table, and a crate nearby, finding some notes in each. It details that Ungadalu attempted to pay homage to his ancestors, but an evil spirit possessed him. He locked both him and the spirit inside the cave. The final note says a wizened charm will release him, but never magic that would harm. We exit the cave and call for Gudwo again. We tell him everything we found, and he says the caves house the spirits of their ancestors and they may play tricks on us. He tells us there's a pool of sacred water in the center of the jungle. He says the water will only retain its special properties if it is in a blessed vessel made from the metal of the sun. He gives us a sketch of the vessel and tells us that he will help us bless it once we have it made. We go back into the cave and find a secret crevice behind a bookshelf and crawl through. Inside, we find an ancient locked gate. We pick the lock and find boulders, which we break into bits and proceed. We force a heavy door open and find a room full of bats. We proceed onward and find a dead end with a marked wall. There's a message on the wall that has a riddle, requesting a soul, mind, earth, and then 2 law runes. A small door opens and we proceed through. In here, we find carved stalagmites. A description on them reads, "Once they were crystals to make the pool shine, ordered in stature to retrieve what's mine." If we drop the gems we brought with us, one of them will float by itself onto the stalagmite. I repeat this 6 more times. The spirits pull me to the center of the room, and a brilliant show of lights materializes a book at my feet. The book details how to handle a demonic possession, by using holy water and silverlight to weaken and identify demons, using an octagram to confine them, and also how to make holy water. We teleport out of the caves and make the vessel a golden bowl. We return to the jungle and call Gudwo. He helps us bless the bowl by leading us into a deep meditation. We take the bowl and fill it with the water of the pool. Equipped with the means to extinguish the flames, we return to Ungadalu and speak to him. The demon inside him hurts us, but we stand strong and read from the book. A huge demon is drawn out, and we're outclassed. I leave and prepare for a rematch. After I deliver the final blow, the demon promises he will return, just before blasting me with a fire spell and exploding. The shaman asks what he can do to repay us, and we ask for the yami seeds. He tells us to germinate the seeds in pure water and plant it in fertile earth. The magical tree grows remarkably fast and must be constantly watered using the pure water. I leave the cave and make an Umli bird mad on accident. We tell Gudwo what happened and go to the pool. We germinate the seeds, then try to fill the bowl again to find that the pool has dried, replaced with a thick, black sludge that smells of death. I make a jungle dweller mad on accident, then make a wolf mad on accident, and then call for Gudwo. We ask where the source of the spring is. He explains that he was told as a young boy that the source is guarded by the spirits of those who tried to seek it out before me, and a powerful fear spell is placed on the caves. He tells us how to make a potion to ward us from the fear spell. We make the potion and go back to Ungandalu's cave, returning to the stalagmite room. There's a door in the northern end with another inscription, hinting to use a spell on it. We use a charge orb spell, and the door opens. We feel the effects of the fear spell entering the potion. We tie a rope in the nearby winch and climb down into the darkness. We fall, landing on a winding cliff. We make our way down, failing almost every obstacle. At the bottom, undead skeletons attack us to prove our might. Each of them drops a piece of a crystal. We take the crystals to a furnace and fuse them together. When we take the crystal heart, we hear a voice that says, "Bring life to the dragon's eye." Looking at the map, the walls make a dragon head, with this mossy rock being where the eye would be. We place the crystal on the rock, activating it. We place the crystal into a recess and we're able to pass through the barrier. We find the source of the spring blocked by 3 large boulders. When we attempt to push one out of the way, a spirit apparates. It identifies itself as Ekned Zekken, a tortured spirit seeking peace by getting revenge upon the man who killed him, Vyeldi. He says Vyeldi is now one of the spirits guarding the source. He asks us to strike the spirit with an obsidian dagger in order to enact his revenge. For the first time in our adventuring career, instead of taking directions at face value and following them blindly, we return to Ungandalu and show him the dagger. He thanks the gods that we came to him instead of following through with the spirit's request. He takes the dagger and gives us a spell parchment designed to have the spirit reveal its true self. We return to the source and cast the spell on the spirit, revealing itself as the demon. I'm out of food and the demon's at half health. This is going to be close. So, after the fight, I noticed 2 things. 1, I'm wearing an amulet of magic, which is like I'm not wearing anything at all. If I had my amulet of strength on, I would have won. 2, the demon is weakest to magic, so we're changing up our strategy for the rematch. A warning to those of you doing this quest in the future, if you lose the fight here, you do still need the parchment to reveal a spirit again, and if you leave with your agility drained, you need to restore it back to 50 before going down again. I have 2 options available to me to restore my agility: die or wait 10 minutes. I waited 10 minutes. After we defeat him, he once again says he will return. We move the boulder out of each spring and exit the caves. The pool is once again flowing. We fill our bowl and begin the process of growing the tree. We water the tree and chop it as it grows. Then carve it into a totem. We take the totem and replace the one in the center of the jungle. The demon Nezikchind appears once again and attacks me before I can react. By now, the demon is so outclassed that the fight isn't even close anymore. After killing him for the final time, we call Gujwo and place the new totem. The jungle itself seems to be filled with the presence of peace. Gujwo gives us a beautifully crafted totem and says we will always be a friend of their people. Quest complete. Every single RuneScape Classic quest has been completed, and almost every bit of content has been explored. Thanks for joining me on this adventure, and I'll see you when we delve into the full release of RuneScape 2.